Hello and welcome to episode 98 of Ready to Mosh. I'm Kev P and alongside me is the download to my announcement. It's Jim G.
Topical, I guess.
Topical, yeah.
We've just had the announcement about the announcement.
And God knows when we're actually going to hear something, but, you know. Anyway, back to the episode. And it's the review of Derby Oldfest. 7th festival for me, 6th for you this year.
I believe so. I've lost count, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year.
Yeah, when we do our actual festival roundup, which will probably be 3 hours long, we'll know for definite, won't we?
Yeah, we should.
Before we get into this, I just want to chuck in a couple of disclaimers. Firstly, I think our last 5 episodes have been interviews, so I can't actually remember how to do this properly. So bear with, it feels a bit weird doing this much talking so far.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a review of anything.
Well, the last non-interview episode we did was the Derby Altfest preview.
Yeah. That seems a long time ago now.
I know, it was. About 6 weeks, I think.
Wow.
Number 2 is I haven't wrote notes on all the bands that we saw. I've got a list to know who we saw, but I haven't wrote notes because at times I was just busy doing filming, getting photos, etc.
Yeah.
So I might be a little bit fuzzy on my recollection of some people. And also some of the notes I have wrote, I've just been looking back on in my phone, are illegible because I couldn't see very well. It was dark and I've got words that I can't understand. So.
Just out of curiosity, which nights were those?
I don't know. I mean, Saturday I did the first 2 bands and then I was just enjoying it.
I'm just wondering if alcohol played a part in it.
How rude. No, it's called bad eyesight.
Okay.
I'm blaming it on the bad eyesight, not the cider. And yeah, sometimes I was just enjoying it and I forgot that I was supposed to be making notes. So I'm relying on your notes for something. No, I've got some notes and I've got some memories, but just, bear with. And we did see 31 bands, I believe.
That's a hell of a lot of bands over 5 days.
Yeah.
And it was not even 5 days, is it? It was 3 nights and 2 days?
Yeah, pretty much. I suppose to start with, I guess we should say not all bands actually made it.
Yeah, that's worth pointing out. So at the time of the festival, on the first day was the day that basically the country flooded.
Well, no, the Friday was the day the country flooded.
Was it? I thought it started Wednesday.
It started on Wednesday, but Friday, Derby flooded. Derbyshire and surrounding areas flooded.
Yeah, and there were a lot of bands got stuck in places. Band members in different parts of the country couldn't get to play. So there was a lot of bands had to pull out.
Yeah, and I think even prior to that, I think a few bands had switched from our preview episode because I know Daybreaker had to pull out fairly short notice for medical reasons. And I think there might have been a couple of other switches, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, before we go into it, just want to say a very big thank you to Liam at Unearthed.
Absolutely, yeah.
For sorting tickets out for us. And we had a chat with Liam there as well. We also interviewed him on episode 96.
I think it was, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so big thanks to Liam, for sorting that all out for us.
Yeah. And also to Harry.
Also of Unearthed.
Who is of Unearthed and also from Beyond Your Design.
Yes.
Who we know very well. So, yeah. Big thank you to those two. And to all of the lovely staff, actually, at the Hairy Dog.
Yeah, I was going to say shout out to all the Hairy Dog staff and all the Unearthed crew that were there as well that we didn't actually speak to personally. So before we get into reviewing all the bands that we saw, we're just going to talk a little bit about the venue, the Hairy Dog. It was our first time visiting there, so we had a vague idea actually of what to expect because they've got a very good little walkthrough video on their website. Yeah,
they've got a generated thing where you can actually, it feels like you're inside the venue itself, inside the, where the gigs take place.
Yeah. So we had a bit of a rough idea, but I thought it was an awesome little venue.
It's a cracking place, isn't it? Yeah. You can generally get a good spot anywhere, decent view everywhere.
The sound was really good. The lighting was really good.
Do you know what? I was going to say, for a venue that size to get the sound and the lighting that good is really decent.
Yeah, definitely. There's a bar area as you first walk in. Well, actually, there's an outside area as you first walk in.
Yeah.
With quite a lot of seating, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Hell of a lot of seating.
And then you've got your bar area with some seating in it. Great variety of drinks at the bar and very reasonably priced, I think, for a city centre venue. For a
city centre venue and, for the choice of drinks as well, because it seemed like everything was the same price. It was weird.
Yeah, some things were slightly different, but first thing we spotted as soon as we walked in, 3 flavours of Lily cider on tap.
Yeah. Oh, love that stuff.
And £4.50 a pint.
Yeah. We need to get sponsored by Lily's.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Anyone who works for Lily's.
Yeah.
Give us a shout out. Yeah, and then you've got a little cloakroom area.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say about the little cloakroom area as well, there's a little pot of earplugs available.
Mm.
So very important to check your ears. Oh yeah, it's important to check your ears. Protect your ears.
Protect, yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. We travel with our own earplugs these days, but if not, they have some available for you.
Yeah, and there's also a games room to the left.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say next.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
It's funny because when Liam mentioned the games room, I couldn't quite picture that.
I couldn't picture what it was going to be like.
But yeah, it's kind of really cool. It's got 2 pool tables in it, some old school arcade games and some seating. So if you just want to get away from the event.
Yeah.
Or obviously you can just go in there because it's a normal pub as well, bar venue, isn't it? So,
yeah, so if you're not there to watch a gig, you can go into that bit and into the bar itself. Yeah. So, and what else I found interesting in the bar was they have the music at a level that you can hear in the bar and it stops you from hearing the bands. But when you're in the venue to watch the bands, you can't hear the bar.
Yeah, that is interesting. The only downside to that was we weren't always quite sure if a band had started.
That was an issue,
because, yeah. But, you know, it's not massive. We could bob in and see.
It was a little bit of to and fro in, but
fine.
It was fine, yeah. And then you've got the main venue itself for the bands. There's a bar, another bar again.
Yeah, at the back though. We didn't actually use that one, did we? At all?
No, I think the only reason we didn't use that is mainly because we were drinking the draft stuff, which was only available in the main bar. But yeah, if you wanted bottles, cans, they got some pints, but not.
I know they got Strongbow on tap and some beers.
Yeah, it wasn't, but because it wasn't stuff we were drinking, I think that's why we didn't really use it. I think I might have had like a couple of rums from there, because they got spirits on that bit as well. And then, yeah, next to the bar area, you've got the sound engineer, and again, there's the seating inside as well.
Yeah, which I quite liked. It's big barrels with tall stools you can kind of perch on.
Yes.
Kind of around the edge, so it's not infringing in the mosh area.
Yeah, and because you can just kind of like move things around, it makes it easier if you want to be in a particular spot, and it gives kind of like the staff, makes it easier for the staff and everybody else, I assume, because they can just push things to one side. Toilets
were in the main bar and then also in the event room, stage room. What do you call it? You know what I mean? The room where the stage was.
Okay. We all know what you mean.
Yeah, so 2 lots of toilets as well.
Yeah. And then there were merch tables just in front of that bit.
Yeah, and sometimes on the opposite side as well, particularly on the Saturday when there were more bands on, there was another one set up. So obviously most events will probably just use the one side depending on what bands have brought with them. And obviously it was a bit of a rotating table. Yeah,
and we kind of missed a few bits of merch that we wanted as well. But we'll just have to pick those up at a later date.
Yeah, I'd not quite got my head around the fact that once a band had finished and they loaded out, and very often they're then having to travel back home, so they were going to take their merch with them. In my mind, merch would be there all night. And then I was like, oh, I'm gone.
Yeah, and interestingly, there's no barrier there.
No, that was a good point. And whether that's a general thing that they do there, or whether it's certain gigs they might bring one in, potentially. I don't know.
Depending on kind of who it is and...
who it is, crowd size, if it's sold out or whatever. But so yeah, you could go literally right up to the stage.
Right up to the stage, yeah. And then you've got the stage itself, which is actually quite a decent size.
Yeah, it was actually, wasn't it? And quite high up.
High up, yeah.
Often small venues have a quite low stage, so you can struggle to
see. It actually seemed bigger than the stage at the rescue rooms.
I thought it was a similar size.
Yeah. It just seems to go further back. I think the rescue rooms is longer, but I felt that this one just seemed to go back a bit deeper.
Okay. Yeah, kind of know what you mean. I think it's similar capacity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So anyway, that's the venue.
So yeah, highly recommend going to it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we'll be going back to it. So
I'm sure we will. Yeah, kind of disappointed it's not actually that far from us, is it? It's just difficult to get to via public transport. In a car, probably quicker than Nottingham, but...
Yeah. It obviously depending on when you go and what time of day, but it's not like it's a single road like it is in Nottingham. It's dual carriageway most of the way. So,
anyway,
on
to the bands.
On to the bands. Right, so first band up of the day, well, the evening, were Dritford Empire.
And just to say Wednesday, this was chosen by Unite.
It was, yeah. So everybody got to vote for this, and these are the bands that were selected. And Dritford Empire, for me, is kind of like one of my favourite bands over the last 12 months or so.
Yeah, same.
And as you're listening to this, their new single is out.
Yeah, it was released. It'll be last Friday when this goes out, MK4.
Yeah, we've listened to it, and it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was also awesome live.
It was, yeah. I wasn't expecting to hear it live, actually. You know, kind of, I suppose it makes sense with the release date being so close, but yeah, it was great to hear it live. And yeah, definitely a band that people need to go and see.
Absolutely, yeah, just so full of energy, just great live.
Yeah, I'd love to see Dritford Empire play to come out an absolutely heaving room.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like they get even more energy than what they produce.
Yeah, because being first on, it wasn't the biggest crowd. And I think last time when we saw them at Mangato, I was outdoors, but I feel like, yeah, in a really full indoor room.
Yeah, in a full indoor room, it would be mental. Just seeing them, the way that they mix everything together, and especially kind of when they split into the Rammstein versus Prodigy.
Yeah, I love that.
That was amazing. That was so good.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten they did that live, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and another reason to go and watch them, because we couldn't put it into words and do it justice as to how good that is. But yeah. And do you remember the inflatable kangaroo?
I do, actually, yeah. What was that about?
No idea, but there was an inflatable kangaroo thrown about, and yeah, a perfect opening band. And I don't think it's going to be long before they're kind of headlining places now.
Yeah, surely they must be soon.
They've got to be, yeah. So yeah, great start to the night.
Second band up were Karma's Puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyed these. I loved the kind of horror intros that they had going on.
Yeah.
Which I kind of remember listening to them beforehand and thinking, yeah, I think these are a bit of me.
Yeah, I thought their opener was incredible as well. Really great opening track. And the vocals just kind of really piercing.
I was going to say, reminded me of Bruce Dickinson kind of vocals.
It's just such a great range, a mix of vocals.
Awesome vocals. And standout track I did make a note of, I Am the Butcher. Really like that one. Yeah,
I love all the kind of like cool hooks and solos they got going on. And I think they'd be great at Bloodstock, actually.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think they could easily play on stage there.
Yeah, definitely watch these again.
Next up, a band that we interviewed on... Well, I interviewed Jacob on episode 95, I'm going to say.
I'm going to agree. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. It was either 95 or 97.
Wasn't 97?
It was 95.
There you go.
It was episode 95. Yeah. So Recall the Remains, they were missing Jacob for this one gig, because he was in Hungary. So they brought in Rob from Beyond Your Design, someone who we know very well, and he did a great job of filling in. Yeah,
awesome. Almost like if you didn't know he wasn't usually there.
The usual singer you wouldn't know, and you wouldn't necessarily know.
Yeah, it just kind of fitted in with the whole vibe of the band as well. It didn't look odd. I mean, it did look odd because he's not normally with that band, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, they open with kind of one of my favourites that they do. I also noticed that the bass that they were knocking out, I don't know if you kind of felt it, but from where I was, I only noticed it for Recall the Remains, actually, that the bass felt that powerful. It was kind of like almost like hitting me. It's like, you know, you used to walk over the hill at download.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And you could feel the bass just kind of going right through you.
Yeah.
It was having that effect. I was like, this is insane. It's like, I wasn't expecting that.
Can't say as I noticed it myself.
Yeah. But I only noticed it for that one band, and the place where I was for most of the week was always the same. But I don't know what difference there was, but yeah. Again, Recall the Remains, incredible performance. Really top notch. Rob did a fantastic job. And yeah, looking forward to seeing those too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands actually, I think, that kind of like, these are kind of like the thing that I want them on. So I can watch all of the bands that I've loved over the last 12 months just all together.
It was a bit like that, wasn't it? Because there's some bands that we've seen before, some that are new. But yeah, just the fact that there was just the one stage and it was pretty much back to back.
Yeah.
Means you could pretty much watch everyone. Next up were Regicide.
Yeah. Great kind of old school thrash.
Yes.
Really. And I thought they were kind of the heaviest band of the night, actually.
Oh, Definitely, yeah. They'd have fitted in on Thrash Saturday, to be honest, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think they could, yeah. And that's potentially kind of like, if, as Lynn was saying, if like that's going to become a staple thing, then they're definitely a band that could step up to that.
Yeah, because I love that old school thrashy sound that they got going on.
Yeah. And another band that would do well at Bloodstock.
Yeah.
There was a couple that just kind of like would fit in perfectly into that old Bloodstock setup. Yeah, really, really great kind of, like you were saying, it's like that old kind of almost classic thrash, if you know what I mean. And yeah, perfect. And then we moved on to the headliner, which was Seventh Sea, who had some incredible vocals.
Yeah.
Especially the backing vocals as well, I really liked. But there were also some of the most extreme vocals all night.
Yeah, one thing we said in the preview as well, the good thing about the Wednesday was there was so much variety in sound.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it was chosen by you, so no one knew what was going to come up kind of genre or style-wise.
Yeah, so you got like a really good mix. So you'd had thrash in there, you'd had this in there. You got kind of like the industrial stroke dance sort of side from Dritford Empire. Yeah, it was a perfect blend of everything. The Seventh Sea were fantastic as a headliner. Really good choice. And yeah, couldn't ask for any more on a Wednesday night, really.
Yeah, I think I was least familiar with these out of all the bands that played on the Wednesday, but still enjoyed them just as much.
Yeah, I also like that it's obviously because there's that many bands and you don't necessarily always get a chance to listen to every single one. What I love is that when you do turn up and you hear something, you go, this is really good. It just it makes you more hungry to listen to the other stuff that they've done. And yeah, perfect headliner.
On to Thursday then, and first up were Reanimate, who I didn't make any notes on.
Disgusting. Shocking.
I was there.
You were filming.
I know.
Yeah. I thought these kind of like blew my balls off. They were so fucking heavy. Really guttural vocals and just, I don't know, I think kind of like compared to some of the other stuff that we'd had so far, I think this was just that heavy. I was kind of like, oh, Jesus Christ, this has really woken me up.
I say it was a good wake-up call.
It was a good wake-up call. And in fact, I think this might have been a day when people had problems getting to the venue as well. Because I came home from work early to work from where we were staying in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And there'd been kind of like road problems. And I think that did impact a bit of Thursday.
Yeah, the rain started Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
And it just got worse and worse. But to anybody who missed these guys, Jesus Christ, if you want something really, really heavy, this is a band to watch. Very extreme. Then after Reanimate, it was Only the Righteous, which had, I think at this point, probably the biggest amount of people over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was starting to fill up.
Starting to fill up then, yeah. It was really interesting sound. They had absolutely loads of energy.
Yeah, I noticed that the lead singer was just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah. And I think these were a band where I think some bands are better live, and these are a band for me that really stand out live. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily, a sound doesn't always come across because you can't get that energy when you're in studio, for instance. And sometimes it comes across better when it's live, and this definitely works for these. Yeah,
definitely. I think they were really good live. I think I'd listened to them beforehand, but yeah, really heavy. And again, it's quite a few cool intros to songs and stuff that I liked. So like the whole stage setup kind of thing really worked for me. And then next up was a band that we saw earlier this year, and that is Internal Conflict.
Yeah, really amazing band. Sounded as good as ever.
Yeah, they said they did have a few technical issues, and there was part of one song that they couldn't get to work, I think, due to a lead issue.
Yeah,
or something.
It was, kind of like those pieces, those couple of bits aside, it's kind of like everything else was perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, they played some of my favourite Internal Conflict songs. Amazing live again. And yeah, bumped into Adam as well. Good to see him. And like you said about every Internal Conflict show, they just give absolutely everything and just don't hold back. And that was definitely the case.
Yeah, you can just see it. He's just completely absorbed in the moment, isn't he? And
he gets that look in his eye, doesn't he? And it's like the Adam that kind of we know off stage is so different to the Adam on stage.
Yeah.
It's two very different people, and like when he's in that moment, you could just see everything going through him. It's quite a sight, isn't it?
I mean, it's the same for the whole band, to be honest. They're all just giving their all, and it just shows really much. It had a lot of crowd participation as well. We all had to move forward because Adam can't see on stage because he's not got his glasses on.
Yes.
And also former guest of the show.
Yeah. Another former guest. Next band up were Waterlines, a band who I can't remember the lead singer's name.
I can't either, sorry.
But was suffering with illness.
Had a cold. I think he told us about 17 times.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blame him for this hint of festival flu that I've got going on now.
But yeah, great vocals. A band that would do well at Download. I think they're kind of like a good fit for there.
I think they would be. I mean, they had a good crowd going on at Bloodstock from what I saw in the Jaeger tent, but we missed them, unfortunately. But yeah, so much energy and interaction. They had a mushy stroke line dance going on.
Yeah, I'd forgot about that. Yeah.
Which I didn't participate in because I filmed instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. So yeah, they're just real crowd pleasers, I would say.
Yeah, and definitely got a good reaction from everybody.
Yeah, they did get Pretty Green Eyes stuck in my head for the entire weekend after though.
Yeah, that was a strange one. That threw me off. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, having not seen them live before, I wasn't expecting that one. So, but yeah, they were great. Glad we've finally seen them. And then final band of Thursday was Defences, who, similarly to what you said for Only the Righteous, these came across for me a lot better live than when I've been listening to them beforehand.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. So listening to them before, I wasn't sure if they were for me or not. And then, watching them live, I was like, this is just incredible.
Yeah, the vocals just seem so much more stronger live.
Yeah.
They just worked better.
Like really soulful vocals, just so strong. And then, obviously, that's mixed with kind of like the harder screams. And, yeah, I think some of the audio felt a bit distorted at times. That might have just been my positioning, I don't know. But the timing for all of the band, it was so tight and in sync. It was really good. And yeah, I think these were kind of the biggest surprise of the night for me because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
Same.
And yeah, a fantastic choice as a headline. Obviously, Liam knows what he's doing when he's booking bands, and there's a reason he booked these guys, and it showed.
Yeah, highly recommend watching these live if you get a chance.
Right then, on to Friday. Opening band, Reckoner.
These were awesome, and I can't believe it was it their fourth or fifth show?
Fourth show, yeah. That was
blew my mind
crazy.
When I heard that.
Yeah, well, we spoke to Liam, and I remember, I think it was later that night, or it might have been just after their set, actually. And said to us, these are unbelievable. And then he told us it was like the fourth show. It's like, how are they that kind of tight? Just they got everything down to perfection. The bass lines are incredible, and the vocals were kind of like so more mature than what you'd think they could achieve. And yeah, these are going to be absolutely huge. Yeah. I've no doubt about that.
It reminded me very much of when we first saw Lake Malice, and that was like their third show or something, and we couldn't believe that was only their third show. Yeah,
and they just sound so good live.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think these were, I think Drip Fed Empire were probably my highlight. Wednesday, I think Thursday, was probably Defences. But I think despite all of the bands that came after, I think these were still kind of like my highlight because I'm like, how have you managed to pull this off? It was so good.
Yeah. And then next up were Torn Between. These were really heavy, loads of cool breakdowns. Reminded me a lot of kind of a Malevolent kind of sound.
Yeah. The first sentence of the note is angry as fuck.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Yeah, the guitars were brutal, and the drums and the vocals that just never seemed to stop. It was just so heavy. It was kind of like, and then at times it was kind of like almost bordering on doom.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it had that twist to it, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know I don't know how much I'd had at this point, but I actually wrote, it's like swimming through a heavy guitar soup.
They could use that as like a tagline, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe send it to you. But yeah,
I've really enjoyed these. Thought these were decent. Yeah. So next up are Starved, who they were pretty relentless, had a pretty ferocious delivery, and made a lot of noise, even though they were a three-piece because they were missing a member.
I thought they were missing two.
Oh, were they missing two? I thought it was just one.
I thought it was two.
I thought the drum control was really good, but one of the things was the lead singer complaining about the audio, kind of had a pop at the sound technician, the venue, the people, and wasn't. I think this was kind of like the only negative band of the whole week.
Yeah, it didn't come across well, did it?
No.
I mean, to be honest, they weren't kind of my cup of tea anyway. From listening to them beforehand, and that didn't really change on witnessing the live show. And I know it wasn't their best performance because it wasn't as it should be, but yeah, it just didn't grasp me anyway.
Yeah. And I think the thing for me was kind of just having a pop at everything. It's kind of, if you are missing a couple of members, fine, but, try and put on a good show, try and put on a performance. And I think the attitude just kind of came off completely wrong.
Yeah, because I'm sure there was someone else who was missing someone later on in the weekend. I can't remember now.
There was, yeah.
But they just kind of got on with it.
They got on with it, yeah.
You just have to make the most of it, don't you?
Yeah, and it kind of put a bit of a downer on that night.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of left that set just being a bit... What was
all that about? Yeah. Well, moved on from Starved anyway.
Yes, to a much better performance, in my opinion, which was Those Once Loyal, who we've finally now seen, having missed them at Bloodstock because we were interviewing, missing them at Bangor last year because I think we had to go to a hotel. Third time lucky, saw them, and they were awesome, worth waiting for.
Yeah, exemplary performance. It was kind of captivating, and they also did an amazing cover of My Last Serenade.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I think to cover a song and a band as epic as Kill Switch, it's a bold move. It is a bold move, but they pulled it off. Absolutely. When they announced it, I was like, oh, don't know how I'm going to feel about this, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking, right, strap yourself in. This could be interesting, but they absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, and they got Chase from Beyond Your Design up on stage.
They did, yeah.
Duet on the vocals, which again was great.
Yeah, and what I do like as well is that obviously you'd got Rob with
Recall the
Remains. You got Chase with Those Once Loyal. It's kind of like that connection that a lot of the local bands seem to have. Like they all get on, they'll play the same gigs or the same circles.
It's kind of a really supportive scene kind of around the Midlands, isn't it?
But yeah, I think, again, these are another band that could be headlining stuff now. They were really, really good. And yeah, just captivating. And yeah, the perfect thing I needed on Friday night. So then next up we had Harbinger, who were fucking extreme with amazing solos, crazy vocals, definitely kind of like a headline band as well.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like we've had a lot of bands now that are kind of at that point.
What was funny for me as well was, I mean, we saw them back in July at Mangata and they were just insanely heavy and brutal. And it's almost like I'd forgotten how much so. Again, I was just like, whoa, this is just so in your face in the best possible way. And again, the energy was just kind of radiating off them and off Dylan. You could tell that he was wanting the reaction from the crowd and trying to bring them in more. And
it worked.
And then headlining Friday night, another bunch of angry, heavy noise coming from Bound in Fear.
Yeah. And I'd actually wrote tonight is faff. It's fucking Angry Friday.
Yeah. That's a good one. That should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, it was, like you said, the sound was just brutal. There was no let up. The vocals and the bass were just like bone shaking. And it pulled a solid crowd. And I think, like, energy-wise, it's probably, like, like an angry energy. It's like that kind of thing. It's one I've not experienced for, like, 10 years. It just seems so frantic and so chaotic, but contained.
When I first listened to them beforehand, they did remind me of kind of really early on Raging Speedhorn.
Yes.
That kind of.
Yeah. That anger and that
original anger that they got. They're still angry as Speedhorn, as we know, but just when they initially came out and they were just wanting to just
they got Circle Pit going, they got everything going on. It was again, Another fantastic choice as a headliner.
And then on Friday night, we also did attend some of the after party.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did.
Glad it was memorable for you.
Well, I remember drinking.
I know, we said we might do. We did do.
Yeah, it's not very often we make them because usually we just go, oh, I'm too tired.
Yeah, but we stayed for a little while and just went in the main bar and just had a few more drinks, chatted with some people, listened to whatever the DJ was playing. And
yeah, I think we got back about 1:30.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, we were 5 minutes walk
around the
corner, so it wasn't a hardship to get home.
No. Yeah, I think we stayed out till 1:30, and I saw a few people the next day who were very bleary-eyed who stayed out till like 3.
Yeah, till it finished at 3. We realised our old age limits.
Yeah, we evacuated.
Next up then is Thrash Saturday.
Yeah, the busiest of all of the week.
Yeah, in terms of number of bands and crowd size as well.
Yeah.
Which was good to see. It was good to see the venue a lot fuller. Yeah. And there were a couple of bands that we didn't get to see because we were having food, etc. Obviously, because bands were back to back, so, something had to give at some point, unfortunately.
Yeah, we did need to eat if we were drinking as well. So
being the sensible old people we are. But we'll get to those kind of as we go through in order of where they fitted in, okay. I guess. So opening up on the Saturday were Wargrave, who I've wanted to see for quite a while, as I've been enjoying listening to them.
Yeah, really great opener. Really strong vocals and a really old school kind of thrash sound.
Yeah, there's a lot of Judas Priest coming through for me, and the vocals really high pitched and really, obviously, fast guitars. Because
it was like a perfect pickup after a late night as well.
Yeah, really good opening.
You just needed that kind of burst of energy, didn't you? Just to
it was a good wake you up just to get you going again.
Then next up were Mexican Painkiller,
who were another band who did have somebody missing.
They did, and they performed really well without that member as well. Like, it was a solid performance. Yeah, their drummer was just insane. It's like crazy skill.
Yeah.
Such a good drummer.
Yeah, I spotted that.
Obviously, missing that fourth member, they kind of switched it round so that I think it was the bassist that was missing.
Yeah, so the lead singer was playing bass. But these were definitely on kind of our most wanted list, I guess, beforehand.
They were, yeah.
In terms of bands we'd not seen before.
Yeah, really technical and really quick live. Really quick.
And then the next band up were Hellgrind, but we did miss them because we had to go get some McFood.
Some McFood, yes.
Yeah.
You had some plant-based McFood.
I did, yeah. Got a squishmallow in my Happy Meal. All good. Hope to be back to see the end of Hellgrind, but sadly, Mackie's was busier than we expected it to be.
Yeah.
So the next band we did actually see were Must Kill.
By the time Must Kill started, it definitely got busier.
Oh, absolutely. It was like people came through for the afternoon.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of showed up at this point. Really angry, visceral sort of thrash. Just kind of really shone through, that did.
Yeah, I've quite kind of old school death thrash was what I noted.
Yeah, very, very quick and intricate guitar playing as well.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed. And they got some really cool bass in there as well. That's always good to see. And yeah, the crowd seemed really up for Must Kill.
Yeah, definitely. And rightly so.
Next up, we watched Reaper.
Yeah, again, more aggressive, fast thrashiness, but then there's also quite a few melodic bits in there, I thought.
Yeah.
And I liked that mix.
Yeah, it felt like they got a good blend of everything thrash. So it's kind of like, for anybody who's any fan of certain types of thrash, they covered all bases. And it felt like they could probably play all night if you wanted them to. It's like, it just felt like they wouldn't stop. It's like they almost had to be pulled. You'd have to pull them off.
The next band up were then Inhuman Nature, but we didn't actually see them because we had to nip back to our apartment and kind of do some recharging on equipment, pick up a new charger to bring back with us. And again, we'd hoped to catch the end of them, but it just took us longer than expected.
Yeah, the timings were just wrong, weren't they, for us?
The next band we actually did see, or one that I was really, really looking forward to, and a former recommendation from early this year, were Imperium. And there was such a huge crowd. They were quite possibly one of the biggest crowds, I think, of the event. There was a lot of support there for them.
Yeah, just like a high-octane thrash. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it. You know, thumping guitar. I thought they got some amazing riffs as well. And yeah, the vocals are just so good.
Yeah, just all round full package, really, aren't they?
And yeah, you can see I saw a lot of people in Imperium t-shirts, and you could tell that they were one of the bands that people that really wanted to watch all weekend.
And obviously they played Here Comes the Night, which I was really, really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, that's your absolute favourite.
Yeah, I love that track.
Then next up were Devastator, who, for me, are kind of like one of the sort of like current heavyweight champions of the thrash scene.
Yeah, we've seen them twice before. We saw them at Mangata last year.
Yeah.
And then we saw them on the New Blood at Bloodstock last year. So it had been a little while since we last saw them, but yeah, awesome live.
Yeah, and it's relentless, it's ferocious. And it's just the delivery from start to finish is just like that. It's, you've got wild guitars, you've got piercing, guttural vocals. And they played the new track, Ritual Abuse.
Yes, which is really good.
Yeah, from the album that's out in April. And I can't wait for that to come out because I'm really looking forward to that album.
Yeah, for me, I just love the whole stage setup. And I just love that kind of, for me, that crossover between Behemoth meets Slayer. Black and thrash is just, perfect sound for me. Next up was a band I was really intrigued to see, Hellripper, because officially it's a one-man black speed metal band. Was not sure what the live setup would be. Would it be like a one-man show on stage? But no, there was a full band there. And again, another one that the crowd were really up for. There's a lot of people there to see them. Yeah,
breakneck speed, and it was loud and as fast as anything right now. I think anything in the thrashing, this is right up there. Crowd are going absolutely mental for this.
Yeah, I was near the front filming and I ended up moving out of the way because people were flying. There were limbs loose just all over the shop. And I was like, this camera's going to die at some point if I don't move. Sadly, so I kind of got my way to the back just to keep us safe. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of scope for a lot of throwing around, obviously with there not being a barrier, and then the merch was just there. And I'm surprised the merch table survived.
Yeah, I saw it from the back and it was just like, that looks chaos.
A couple of people went into the merch table, definitely.
Next up, Divine Chaos, who were one of my favourites of the night, I think. Kind of vocally, they started off reminding me of like a very, very heavy Killing Joke.
Yeah, there was that tone to the vocal, wasn't there?
Really cool bass lines running through it. I was really enjoying this. But then they got that ability to switch, so there were other points where they sounded more like Municipal Waste. And it was just like, it was cool to see a band doing different styles. All of us, kind of like all at the same time. They played Suicide Salvation as well, which is, I think that's an incredible track. And I think that's from an album that's coming out soon as well.
A lot of bands did actually play some new tracks, didn't they?
Yeah.
And thinking back over it, I think most people played something unreleased so far. Or something, they'd not played live before. But yeah, just on Divine Chaos, I thought they were good. But for me, I think just because they'd come straight after Hellripper in particular, that was just so frantic and full on and fast. And similar with Devastator, they just seemed a little bit almost sedate, I guess.
Yeah, I remember you saying that at the time. But like for me, it was kind of like, it was the perfect thing I needed to pull back.
See, I was not. I was going full pelt at that point. I was like, keep it going. And so they were really good. And I did appreciate what they were doing, but it just felt a little bit like a step back. And
you think they should have maybe been earlier or on a different night?
No, I think probably it was a good placement to get people just chilled down again a little bit before Gama Bomb. But just for me, that was just how I felt about it. No, I don't think overall, I think it was a good placement for them, but just my humble opinion.
Okay, then on to the headliner.
Gama Bomb.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to those. Yeah, they were just, what can you say, the legends of the thrash scene, aren't they?
Yeah, and an enigmatic performance, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the perfect headliner for that night.
Yeah, I can't believe we've not seen them before, to be honest, but it was just awesome performance from them, loads of crowd interaction. There was something really funny that the lead singer said, and I can't remember what it was now.
He said lots of funny things.
I know, there's one in particular that just killed me, but I can't remember what it was. Obviously, it's Snowy, who I thought had died.
Yeah, you kept saying that to me.
He did die.
They had a funeral and...
I obviously missed the part where he got resurrected.
Yeah.
Because there he was. That was amazing.
You should probably explain for anybody who doesn't know who Snowy is.
So what I was just trying to say then is that Snowy, who did indeed come back to life, and I'd obviously just missed that post, the Gama Abominable Snow made an appearance, and it was just epic, yeah.
And it was great to see a band having loads of fun like that as well.
Yeah, I just loved the intro, the build-up to him coming on the stage. It was just... It was
and then just around the stage, just moving around and with the giant paws and
just comedy meets thrash, wasn't it? But in a good way, not in a stupid way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't in a Spinal Tap kind of thing. It was a, it was just kind of like, it was designed to be like this, and this is what it is.
Yeah, and it's good to see bands not taking themselves too seriously.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah. I also think with these, not only did the crowd love them as well, you could tell with how busy it was and everybody walking around in Gama t-shirts, but I think it shows a lot of ambition for the festival to get a band like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it shows real ambition, and it definitely paid off. Yeah, just a great finish to the night. Then on to Sunday. So we had a few bands missing from Sunday, which gave us a delayed start, but we didn't actually realise that. And we just went straight to the venue.
Yeah, so that was fine. We just got to sit around for a bit.
Yeah, you were driving back, so I got to sit and drink.
You did, and I got to drink some Diet Cola.
Oh, well. My cider was nice. Although I did clear all of the berries.
You did, yeah. You moved on to the rhumbarb.
Let's move on to the rhubarb.
And the mango had already run out, I think, Saturday. So we were down to one lily at that point.
Yeah, so there were a few bands missing, but the bands that were left were really good. And the opening band were Parallel States. Yeah, so Parallel States, they had a few tech issues, I think. There was somebody randomly just on stage trying to sort an amp out.
Yeah, they did. I'd forgot about that. But yeah, there were quite a few that the guitar was cutting out a bit, to start with at least.
And I really like their sound. I will say right from the start, I do like their sound. Reminds me of it's got a good kind of like pop punk sort of sound to it. But there was a couple of things that kind of let them down. That being kind of like the maturity, I think it was. Like it felt like they were just kind of practicing or just not actually performing.
I feel like part of the problem was that it was a really empty room at that point in time. So they almost seemed a little bit awkward to be on the stage in front of so few people. And they were also trying out at least one or two new tracks, I think, which they clearly weren't as familiar with. So that didn't help matters.
No. Well, I've no problem with that. I think it was like some of the things that they were trying to laugh and joke about. It's kind of like, well... Yeah,
it was falling a bit flat.
Yeah, just kind of like, just play, let's hear what you sound like live. But they didn't. I think it's just a maturity thing that will, it'll come.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they've been going for, how experienced they are playing live yet or whatever, but the songs that they'd obviously been playing a while played really well. I really enjoyed those, and they kind of picked up and got better towards the end.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, that kind of sound reminded me of like a young Green Day.
Yeah.
I don't mean to stereotype, but what they played well, they played really well.
Couldn't agree more.
And then we had No Setting Sun, which were one of my highlights of the day. I was looking forward to them anyway because I like them anyway. They were awesome. The vocalist, I think we said that on the preview anyway, they kind of remind me of a little bit kind of Alter Bridge, that kind of classic rock sound. His vocals are awesome and very similar, I think, to Miles Kennedy.
I think there's a few tech issues for these as well. And there seemed to be a bit of that early on. But yeah, really amazing sound and a really strong performance as well.
Yeah, definitely. I got very tight guitar sound as well. Kind of band I can see potentially at Stone Dead at some point.
I think you're right. There was a couple like that on this day. And yeah, these were one of them.
And it's almost quite refreshing. I think we said in the preview, and then Liam also said this as well, that Sunday was more of a chilled down day. So after, all the frantic thrash of Saturday, it was quite nice to listen to something really melodic and a really nice, clear vocal. Yeah,
because there was a few people we were talking to over the week and everything, and they definitely had some kind of like bruises come Sunday. So they were kind of like, actually, I wasn't sure, but they were saying I wasn't sure about Safe It Be My Thing, but actually I'm enjoying this now because I needed to scale it back a bit. And
also, I just have to say that the lead singer got a bonus point for wearing a Ghost t-shirt, because I've not mentioned Ghost on an episode for episodes, have I? So
I'll let you have that. Next up was Slander, who, again, I think would be an amazing Stone Dead band.
Yeah, very much so. I'm surprised that they may have already been to a Stone Dead we've not been to, because they've been around a while.
Yeah, it's very possible. But they've got, the lead singer's got loads of energy. He was just constantly running around the room. Yeah,
because they'd actually come on. This was one of the kind of the examples where we didn't realise the band had started because we were in the other room. Yeah. And he was like literally in the middle of the room when we walked in. I was like, what's going on? A lot of other bands did make use of the floor and move around, but he was just
constantly
there in the middle.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hello, what are you doing there? Yeah, constantly walking around the room, looking where the wire was going.
Yeah, real heavy kind of classic rock sound. Yeah, he was nuts as well. He was like swinging from the beam on the top of the stage. It's like, oh, Jesus. Like, if you slip from that, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm thinking, do I want to be recording this part if he's just going to land on his head and die? But he didn't. It was fine.
Ever the optimist. Jesus.
You know what I mean, though? I was like, he could lose his grip on that. There's like an episode of Casualty panning out. But all was fine. Really enjoyed them. Like you say, really fun, energetic, really kind of good pick-up for the afternoon. And yeah, I got quite a lot of AC/DC vibes, that kind of from the guitar work. And yeah. Next up then were the Dead Amigos, who were playing their very first ever show in the UK, having flown all the way over from Australia.
Yeah. What did me with this is I couldn't understand why the room wouldn't be full for these. Because they're a band that, again, would work even better with a full room.
Yeah, I guess they're quite an unknown entity over here, though. I mean, they're over here for a tour as well. They've not just come over for Derby Altfest. I'm hoping that they've got good crowds on the rest of the tour.
I felt I couldn't really hear the keyboards coming through. So they've got a keyboard player, one of the few bands that had one, and I couldn't really hear the keyboard.
No, I didn't notice it a lot. I think there were a couple of times I could spot it, but yeah, that wasn't a very strong point.
I mean, the bass lines were incredible, and the vocal performance was excellent, and I really enjoyed watching them. They were definitely a highlight.
Yeah, they've got just a really cool sound to them, haven't they?
Yeah.
Some really groovy bass going on, and just some funk in there. And
yeah, again, it was the perfect day for it.
Yeah. And another one maybe at Stone Dead, perhaps.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe. I mean, it'd be a hell of a trek.
I'm going to say,
it's not your local commute, is it?
Okay, scrap that. You know what I mean, though, that kind of festival. They'd suit
the festival.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll pick up quite a few fans on this tour, and, that'll give them the opportunity to come back again.
Next up were Lunar Kiss, who we sadly missed because obviously it was a food break. We needed to eat, but we do hope we get to see those soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I did actually want to see them, and I think time just passed us by whilst we were getting the food because we were chatting with the singer from the Dead Amigos as well.
Yes, we were, yeah. And time just escapes us a little bit.
Yeah, we suddenly kind of realised, there must be a band on, and I think they'd just finished.
I think we'd walked in just as everybody was coming out.
Yeah.
So we'd kind of completely balls that up, which is, it's not a festival if we don't do that. And then, it was, the next band was Leader of Down, who were a lot heavier than I think everybody else that day.
Yeah, I think they did kind of pick up the oomph, as it were, for want of a more technical term.
Reminded me of Those Damn Crows, actually. That very much that kind of
classic,
style.
But heavier.
Yeah. I think there might have been a few issues with the vocals on this. They didn't seem to be as clear as they were with other bands. It might be that the guitars just kind of like drowned them out slightly.
I didn't notice that myself.
Yeah, it was just one of these. It might have been again. It could be positioning because that does play a big part, especially in a room like that, wherever you are. They still put on a great performance.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them. I hadn't listened to them much really beforehand, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, I guess. But I just thought it was a good, solid performance. Sunday's headliners then were, my guests of the show, These Wicked Rivers.
As we say that, I'm sat here in my These Wicked Rivers t-shirt.
You are, aren't you? Should have put mine on as well. We did remember to get some merch from these.
We forgot to buy merch all weekend and kept thinking, I'll get that one, and then the band had gone, and then we kind of made a beeline for the merch for these guys.
We got it before they went on stage because they got it all set up very nicely. So
and we had a chat with John before.
We did, we saw them come in. They was sat in the bar for a bit beforehand.
So it was nice to chat with John in person and before they played. They don't disappoint, do they? They're just unbelievable. They are one of the bands for me. Since we saw them the first time, it's like they're just a band that stand out. Yeah,
it was really weird that first time. Like we said in the preview, we saw them at Stone Dead. We didn't really know. We'd listened to them, but we didn't know anything about what their visuals were like. And we're just blown away.
A handful of songs, but by the end, I kind of knew everything.
But it's just a really good, like they said in the chat we had with them, a greatest hit set. We had a couple of new tracks.
Mix a few other tracks in there, and it'd still be a great set because they didn't disappoint. So good vocally. Aaron's guitar's just, how the hell does he play?
I don't know, because I was right in front of him because it's so small and there was no barrier. We were literally at the front, so I was in front of Aaron and it was just
you were kind of in front of Aaron, I was in front of John, and it was just
But yeah, it was so cool to see them up close because they were so distant at Stone Dead, or it felt distant. So seeing Nana's living room that close up and just seeing all the little detail of that as well was just really cool.
So nice, yeah. But yeah, I mean, every single part of the band, like from the drums to the keyboards, to the harmonica, the bass to the guitar and to the vocal, everything is just so tight, so perfect.
Yeah, you can just tell that they are just such an established band now and well-oiled, yeah.
Yeah, just a well-oiled machine that just puts out these great songs.
Yeah, and they had a good crowd in there who were all obviously big fans as well, so...
Yeah, there was a lot of people in Rivers t-shirts and various other merch, and it was great to get to see them live again. And I can't wait to see them again after this.
Yeah. And
it's a band you just want to keep going back to.
I know. I think on the upcoming tour, I think the only one near us is The Hairy Dog again, which is sold out.
Yeah.
But if they are playing near you on the upcoming tour in December, go and watch them. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, they are, again, another band for me that are kind of like one of the bands of the last 18 months that are kind of like right at the top of my list. They've just put out so much good stuff. Yeah, and their stage show stuff, you kind of have to see it to believe it will throw a lot of people.
Yeah, on paper you'd think, what? But it just works.
How does this work then? Yeah. And then it just does.
Yeah, it's just so, it's cosy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there ended the weekend.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah, so as we said at the start, there were 31 bands that we watched. We missed 3
because of food breaks,
etc. So I don't think that's bad going.
I don't think it's bad at all. And obviously we would have watched more, but obviously some of the bands couldn't make it. So yeah, I think we gave it a very good effort.
Yeah, so a pretty good 5 days all in all.
Yeah, great venue, great festival, and yeah, what I want to do again. I hope it's back next year. And yeah,
what more can we say?
What more can we say? Yeah, it was tiring, but worth every second of it. And it's good to see a local festival.
Yeah, and one that, for some bizarre reason, like we said in the preview, we'd not really come across before.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
Yeah. But yeah, one that we've not come across before, but we know about now. And it was just
I think that's
a really great experience.
Yeah, and what it's done is, like, from that festival, it's now made us kind of go, all right, we know where that venue is now. We know where we can park. We know
where we can stay if we need to.
Yeah.
We know where the nearest kebab shop is for some cheesy chips.
We do, yeah.
Which I've not actually mentioned. Because what's a festival without cheesy chips?
Yeah.
2 doses were had over the weekend.
And yeah, it's in a really good location. And I'm looking forward to going back. I think we are going to be back at some point very, very soon.
Yes, hopefully.
So you'll have to keep your ears open for that one. But yeah, amazing.
And so in addition to this review episode, there will be some visual accompaniment to go alongside it. There may be some photos and videos already out on the socials, or if not, they'll be coming soon. And in case you're not already aware, they are on Instagram, Twitter, or X, if you will, and what's the other one? Threads. Instagram, Twitter, and Threads, Ready to Mosh Cast. And Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Ready to Mosh. I have taken some footage for a vlog, but I'm not quite sure what format that will turn out. Like, it might just be a highlight reel of the bands of each day rather than a vlog, because to be honest, the only bits of us talking are really us going, we're just running off to venue again. So anyway, that'll be coming soon and we'll post about it whenever it's available. So check that out once it's released. Thank you as always for listening. And if you are enjoying what you're listening to, please give us a 5-star rating and a review on your preferred platform to cast your pods from. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Make it mush, Moog.